Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Yang Pratt, the creator of the In a Weekend series, and this is a bonus edition of the podcast this week. Today, I have another great guest for you that I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Her name is Christie Garcia, and she is the dance mom. She recently wrote her very first book, all about the dance competition guide. So Christie, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on here with you today.
Absolutely. And I'm just really thrilled for you for having written this first book. You did it in a really, really short span of time. And now you have a whole series, I think, that is waiting to be released. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We released actually yesterday the second in the series. We can talk a little bit more about that later. And I have a couple more in the works. So yeah, absolutely. It became a little bit addicting, I would say.
Absolutely. Kind of how I feel as well. And the title of today's live is What is Stopping You from Writing Your eBook? So since you've just recently released the first and second books, I want to go back a little bit in time and ask you if you had always thought about writing a book.
Yes, actually, for years and years and years, I've been looking at both writing, more on the simplified versions of books and also full-fledged, chapters after chapters books. So it's definitely been something that I've been thinking about, wanting to do. It's been something that has been on my list to do. And that thing that always gets bumped to the bottom because of certain, fears or things that are going through your head. Mm-hmm.
Yes, those fears can really stop us in our tracks. What were some of the fears that you felt when you had these ideas for books and then you just didn't make them happen previous to these two launches?
Right. Judgment is probably the biggest one. So definitely judgment, like who am I to write that topic? Or who am I to, the fear of what people would say, they will say. And so that was a big one for sure. Definitely, I would say that is the biggest one. The fear of judgment is something that I think most people can relate to. And that was definitely what was holding me back personally.
Yeah, that is a really, really huge one for sure. And I know that I felt that too before I released my first book. I did it after I left my graduate school experience and had my diploma. And in that world, you need a lot of permission to be able to publish anything. And usually things take a very, very long time. So part of me was waiting again for them, the higher ups, whoever they are as well, to say, you know what? You can totally do this. You have enough time. You have enough knowledge, share what you know sort of thing. And I wish I had this particular short version, these secret versions of creating ebooks that I have now back then, because I think it really would have helped me to get out of my own way.
Yes, absolutely. And getting stuck in that mind frame for sure. Absolutely.
Yes, and the idea of there's a great quote out there. I'm not sure who said it, so I'll probably mess it up as well. But it's something like, other people's thoughts of you are none of your business. And we can all hear that. We understand that at its core. However, most of us feel the opposite, I find, in society, because I think we're trained from a young age, from the time we're in school, having to ask permission to go to the bathroom, having to ask permission to speak in class. We've waited our whole lives and lived our whole lives asking other people for permission. So when it gets to time for us to really want to step out and do something bigger, yeah, that idea of asking for permission absolutely is still there.
Absolutely.
So I want to fast forward now. So before you published your books, you kind of felt fear, and that kind of stopped you. You felt fear of judgment from other people. Now that you have published 2 books and more to come, how are you feeling now about this idea of creating an ebook and sharing what you know?
Oh my goodness. The creation part was actually not the difficult part. You helped with that. So, I've gone through the ebook in a weekend, and definitely, that was something that you and Kim both helped me with. So the creation was step by step and quite simple. But getting to push that button of publish. So, it's done. I'm now going to, put it on Amazon, and it's sort of like, okay, this is the moment that I am claiming to be the expert. And so that moment, once that I pushed it, and I actually had, a tangible, the book is completed, it is published. It felt amazing. It felt like all this weight just got lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, it's the craziest feeling, but those moments before you press publish, like all the thoughts, all the feelings come up, and you're just kind of overwhelmed with what it's going to be. And then you push publish, and it's like you said, it all kind of melts away, or it fades into the background. And then the thought comes up, why did I wait so long?
Yes, exactly. That really was actually the very first thought was, why did I wait so long? If you are an expert in whatever you're writing about, so it doesn't really matter, and you have story to share, and you have information to share, it's, once you get past that and you realize that and you press publish and it's out there, and then once you get that first review or that first person reading it and they're like, oh my goodness, I wish I'd read this forever ago, it would have helped this problem, or whatever it is, it's just such a great feeling.
Such an amazing feeling. And we definitely want everyone who is watching live or on the replay or listening on the podcast to also experience that feeling, because it really is just unlike any other feeling I've felt. I've done exciting things before, having kids, getting married. Those are all super big highlights in my life. But I have to say, definitely like you, after you publish that first book, I mean, it goes up there in those most memorable moments where you just feel so proud, not in a boastful way, but you just feel like, oh my gosh, I did this thing that I dreamt about for so long, and now it's a reality.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the head. It's absolutely like that.
Can you tell us now how publishing these books, how has it helped you personally, and how has it helped your business?
Sure. Personally, I think it goes back to that feeling and that confidence. So I definitely feel fully confident. It's kind of insane how much that one thing sort of took away fears that I was having in other parts of my life. So, confidence definitely is one of them. Accomplished is a huge one. So feeling, that you've done it from beginning to end, it is now out there and it is accomplished, it is finished. So that was a great feeling. As mothers, we get caught up in feeling accomplished with the things our children accomplish. And both of my children are very high performers and accomplish a lot, but there's nothing like accomplishing something yourself. So that was something for me personally that I definitely took away.
And that's a really good point about the accomplishments for yourself, because I think I dropped off there for a moment. That was really sweet. But having our kids see that we have accomplished something, a goal that we've set for ourselves, I mean, I think that's a really great gift that we can give to our kids. And, speaking of kids, I'd love for you to share the story of your second book, because one of your kids was part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, so I'm just going to bring up what I wrote just so it all makes sense. So I wrote the dance competition guide. So it is a guide with all different parts and checklists for the parent of a child that competes in dance. And so I wrote one really tailored towards girls. And I actually have two stars. I have a daughter and a son. And so my son actually really wanted to do one for the boys. And so AJ and I actually co-authored the boys edition, and that was the one that actually just got published yesterday. So I'm so proud of him. He went through the whole process from, something we call treeing and really getting down into the details right through to the end and doing a final edit, choosing photos. It was a great experience for him. He's 16 years old and now he's a published author.
That is phenomenal. And I would love to talk to AJ sometime too and bring him on with us and have him share his experience because, writing a book is not just for adults. It really is for anybody, whether you're a little kid or you're a full-grown adult who has lived lots of different stories and through many adventures. I mean, the process that we've created inside of eBook in a Weekend, which Christie is referring to, really takes you step by step and says, okay, here's the first thing you're going to do. Go do that thing. Here's the next thing you're going to do. And by taking these little tiny steps and getting wins at each step, by the end of a weekend, you can really have your book done. And Christie and AJ are an example of a mother and son sitting down to create this book together and brainstorming and dreaming. And the fact that at 16, he's now a published author, when he goes to apply for colleges or professional jobs, having that on his resume, that's a huge boost because how many 16-year-old kids or 18-year-old kids can say they're published authors? And I just think you have given him such an incredible gift, Christie. So thank you for that.
And what a gift it was for me. I got to spend a whole weekend with my son and he wanted to hang out with me. This was the cool part, right? We actually bonded and, had a few good laughs looking through photos of, his old dance days. And it was just actually a really fun project. Yeah, it was really great.
Oh, and that is so true too. And if those of you listening or watching have kids, especially in the teen or tween age, you can totally relate to the fact that your kids wanting to hang out with you is probably not at the top of their priority list. But if we can flip the paradigm and really say, let's do this together, you get to hang out, you get to create memories. And those memories of you creating something together are ones you're going to have for your entire lives. And then those books that you're creating together become your legacy. And I think that is just spectacular.
Thanks.
So if there is someone watching or listening to this interview and they think, I've always wanted to write a book too, but I just don't know if I have what it takes, what would you tell them?
Oh my goodness, you absolutely have what it takes. Absolutely. And I would 100% tell them, sign up today for eBook in a Weekend. And I know I'm jumping the gun, but I really, really recommend it because it takes you through step by step. It is, the process is so simple that anybody can do it. You have so much expertise, whether you are, a teenager like my son, or you are, quite a bit older, like maybe myself or older. But really anybody can do this. And that's what's so exciting about it. And you have just, you and Kim have really brought it down step by step. It literally, it's task orientated. You will have a book by the end of the weekend. So I encourage everybody to go and sign up. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And I just shared the link to go get more information about eBook in a Weekend. The doors close tomorrow night, Thursday, and we kick off the class on Friday. And I know that for some of you that may seem like, oh my gosh, this week, I'm going to do it this week. And that feeling may feel like it's so big. However, I want you to take that feeling of excitement and maybe even a little bit of fear, come into the class. Let us help you get past all those sticking points because, there's all sorts of places that could stop us in our tracks. And if we don't have someone there to help us and guide us and encourage us to, get to that wall and push it down, sometimes the ideas that we have for books never actually get shared with the world. And that is such a travesty. So I would love for you all to check out eBook in a Weekend. If you have questions, you are welcome to message me right here on Facebook. If you're listening on the podcast, just come on over to Facebook and message me. I'm happy to answer any of those questions. And Christie, do you have any parting words for anyone considering jumping into eBook in a Weekend?
Don't let your fear take over. It's just something that's annoying, and it's actually something that'll bring really great things. And just do it. Just get in there and create some magic.
And I love that word magic, because it really truly is. When you're in a group of people and you're moving forward together and you have a common goal, really there is such synergy, and that magic really happens where things fall into place and things become really easy and really joyful. And that's what we want for all of you out there. And Christie, before we wrap up, I do want to make sure that anyone who wants to get in contact with you, wants to know more about your books or your series, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on every platform at Sparkle Your Star. SparkleYourStar.com is our website. And yeah, you can find me, DM me, email me if you have any questions whatsoever. We're also on Amazon, both of our books.
Amazing. And congratulations again to both you and AJ for becoming published authors in a weekend, because that is a huge accomplishment that you get to carry with you forever now.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in to this bonus episode of the podcast. I hope that Christie's story has inspired you to think about the stories that you have inside and the adventures that you've lived and the challenges you've overcome, because all of those things are enough. They are exactly what you need to create your very own ebook. And Kim White and I would be absolutely honored to have you join us inside of eBook in a weekend. We kick off Friday. I'd love to see you there. Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.